You're listening to the WCHE Morning Show on 95.3 WCHE.
And welcome back to the WCHE Morning Show. I'm Eric Klimbauer. Co-host today is Luann Sims. And up next, we are speaking with Nikki Casey, the founder of Styled Porch Co, a seasonal porch styling business inspired by her Midwest roots and love for fall. This year, Styled Porch Co is bringing the beauty and joy of fall to the West Chester Chili Cookoff on October 12th. Nikki, welcome to the show. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Great to have you on the show. Looking forward to our segment here. So we'll get to the Chili Cookoff in a second, but before that, I did want to get a little bit of your background. So what inspired you to start Styled Porch Company?
Oh, that's a great question, and something that I think is a little bit funny. So it started with my kids being little, and we always went out to the rural parts of Pennsylvania, and I would fill my car with as much pumpkins and mums and sometimes hay if space allowed, and I would transform the porch at home. And the kids and I just got so much joy out of it, and then the neighbors got so much joy out of it that year after year when I did this, I started to leave my kids at home so I could get more space in the car and bring more things home, which later eventually led to, hey, could you do my porch? So I only did a few porches for friends, but it really was my daughter who pressed me on, you know what, Mom, I really think this is a skill for you. You get so much joy out of it. You should really bring it to others. And because of my Midwest roots, I love being near the farms and I love sourcing everything locally. But it was really inspired with my family and then them pushing me to do this.
So how long how long have you been doing the Styled Porch Company?
Yeah, this is our inaugural year.
First year. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So an interesting backstory as well, how that started. Because sometimes people plan these for years, stuff like that.
Right?
It seems like it just kind of came from your family.
It did. It is learning how to be a one-person show amongst all sorts of things that you encounter. So it's been a lot of learning, but it's been a lot of fun. And the best part about it is to see the joy on people's faces when they see their porch transformed and how much excitement they get out of it as well.
Yeah. Can you give maybe a little overview of what you mean when you say transform a porch? I'm looking at your website and I know exactly what you're talking about and it's beautiful. But maybe just describe maybe what you do for people.
Yeah, thank you. So what it is bringing the joy of fall to your porch in whatever way that you so choose as a client. I offer several different packages, also customs, but I'm really bringing pumpkins and gourds and optional hay and optional mums, maybe even corn stalks, and just taking it from what you would maybe see in the summer with a pot or two into a fabulous transformation with fall celebration right at your doorstep.
Awesome. So I was walking my dog yesterday and my neighbor was doing this to her porch and it looked really nice. And I yelled out, "Can you come to my house, please?"
Yes.
Because I have, nothing. I have nothing. I don't really have the porch for it, to be honest. But the fact that you can, in fact, hire someone to come in and do this for you is kind of amazing. I love that.
It's so funny because, we've always grown up hearing smiles are contagious and feeling smiles are contagious. And I have this absolute joy about doing this. And the best part about it is that joy is contagious too. Like you walked and said something to that person who is out there doing that. It happens all the time and it's fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really, we talked at the beginning of the show about kind of embracing the seasons. If you don't love fall, if you don't love whatever, but this is a way to really make the most of what it has to offer and make it fun.
And a couple of other questions here before we get to specifically the Chili Cookoff, because I know you'll be having a big role in that. But what makes Styled Porch Company different from a lot of the other seasonal decor businesses?
Few things. Number one, I source everything locally. I'm from the Midwest. I grew up with one of my sets of grandparents being farmers. So I definitely believe on keeping everything local and working with all the farmers and growers around us. Secondly, this is not just about putting pumpkins on your porch. It's about styling. So what I want to do is look at your space and make sure that what I'm doing reflects what you're looking for as well. So there is that. And then I think one of the biggest things for me is that this provides purpose. And I'm a big fan of the harvest season for so many reasons. A lot of us love it for the colors, and what happens during this season is just transformational, right? We go from these greens to all these warm tones and just this feeling of joy around the fall season. So part of it, I'm a faith-based organization, and I believe that God gave us this beautiful season for a reason, and it's the harvest. What we do in the harvest really fuels us for the rest of the year. So part of it is really giving glory to Him and celebrating the joy of the season as well. And I also want to add that not everything is about styling, because some people really like to do their own styling, right? But it's also convenience. So for those people who they want to do it themselves, but they don't want to go pick everything up, haul it, get dirty, and have all of that time to bring everything actually home, I also offer DIY packages and a little starter kit, so folks can do this on their own as well. So they just want it delivered and dropped off, and they can play on their own.
So something I really like that you mentioned, just the local aspect.
Yes.
With it being local, I think that's something we try to touch on a lot here. It's just, for example, we have a segment at 9:30 talking about local agriculture, and so just the local aspect, that's really what's one of the parts that stood out to me. As far as what you're doing.
Exactly. I cannot stop loving driving out in those parts of Pennsylvania. It is just calming when you go out and meet with the growers. I have a story. I had a client that called. It was a little bit last minute, and I had almost everything I needed, but they really wanted this by the weekend. So I called my grower. I'm like, hey, do you have any field trips? I need like 30, 40 field trips. And he's like, I don't, but I have some in the field. I literally drove out, and we went in my truck into his field, and he cut them for me live and then boxed them up and brought them home, and I was able to style this for this event that weekend. But you don't get that. Like, that was like the best experience. I'm like, listen, I don't care what happens today. This was so fun. This brought me back to my childhood. It was just, you just don't get that anywhere. So the local piece of it is really one of my favorites.
And convenience.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk here as well about the pumpkin concierge process.
Yes. So what does this look like? What I do is, I just spoke about it. I work with the local growers. I go out and I source everything from the mums and the corn stalks and everything else that would be on a porch. And then making sure they're clean. And you sometimes want to make sure that you sprinkle them with a mixture. Sometimes vinegar and cayenne pepper is good to keep the pests away, because sometimes you can get a little bit of pests. So yep, follow me for tidbits. And then just really the styling part of it. It's not just dropping and plopping or stacking. It's really about how much space do you have? How do you want to layer? And what colors are you interested in? So if you order mums, just put in the notes for me. Like, you want purple hues, you want to keep it orange hues, like fall, warm, cool. And then I'll just construct a design around that. And I think, again, what's different, you all might think this is cheesy, but every time I bring a load in, I pray over those pumpkins for everybody who gets them. So what's different about this is I want it to be personal. I want it to really celebrate the season and bring joy to, each family and each event.
And that's something fall definitely can do.
Yes, exactly.
So before, the last question I had before we get to the specifics with the chili cook-off, what has surprised you most in starting Styled Porch Company? Of course, you mentioned this is your inaugural year of that. Anything that surprised you most since then?
Well, number one, there's a lot of surprises on the business side, but when you give someone a gift or a kind gesture and they are just so happy, and the smile from that surprise is really heartwarming. So the thing that surprises me most, I would say, is the delight that people get out of seeing their porch go from like a pot or two to a transformation of the fall harvest joy on their doorstep. It just is something I did not anticipate being so fulfilling, but it is really the best part of this.
Yeah, I think that's something you see a lot in fall and like Christmas time as well. People will go around to see people's porches.
Yes.
Yeah. You might be starting a new thing here where we drive around and look at everybody's fall porches.
I love it. Wouldn't that be great?
Do you do the homeowners, are they normally watching you set it up, or is there a big reveal when you're finished?
A lot. It's both. I would say it's about 50-50. So some want to watch but sometimes it's too quick. Like, it depends on the size of the package. I did a very large commercial property this week, the weekend into the week on Monday. And it was probably one of the most bigger design challenges I've had, because there was 3 spaces and they were all double-sided. So wherever the cars were coming, I had to make sure they had a nice angle. It took me a lot longer than I anticipated, but it turned out to be fantastic. And why am I sharing this story with you is because they called me later that night and they were like, "Oh my land, this looks so great," because the owners weren't there when I did it, but the workers kept coming out all the time to say, "Oh, this looks great." And I think at first when you have everything kind of like in a big pile, they're like, "What is this going to look like when you're done? Like, really? You're going to make this look pretty?" And then when they were coming, like, "Oh, we see it taking shape. Oh, this is really looking nice. Oh, wow." And then back to the call that I got that evening, owner called me and he said, "I cannot believe how gorgeous this looks. Thank you so much. We've never done anything like this." He's like, "I cannot make this up if I tried, but people are literally stopping their cars, getting out, putting their kids next to it and taking photos."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that just warms my heart so much."
Great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And so moving over to the Chili Cookoff, we've been teasing that a little bit. We've had several interviews revolving around that, and I know you're going to have a big role in that. So what role will you and your team play at this year's event?
So what we will be doing is we're going to be styling the stages and the areas that the bands will be playing. We have 3 different bands that are playing, and I think we're going to be on the courthouse steps, and we're going to be over here in the veranda a little bit, and some other places. But we're going to bring the fall harvest joy to the Chili Fest and around the music.
So, and that is October 12th, listeners, by the way.
Yes.
Just to put that on your calendars here. And what's your vision for how the seasonal decor will enhance the experience for visitors? Do you have any insight on that?
You know, again, I think it comes back to the joy, right? We talked about how much joy it brings, and we're talking October 12th. So what a better time to bring the harvest season and the celebration of the season and the joy that it brings to the Chili Fest. There's a lot of excitement about the competition, but we haven't ever done anything that has been decor related. It's always just been, the chili and all the vendors and everything else, but it's always lovely. I did an event recently in Kennett Square, and the feedback, there was these big, huge white cement pieces to like hold the stage down. And what you saw, instead of they were literally like, I'm holding my arms out and I forget that people can't see me doing this. They were probably 3 feet by 3 feet. Big cement blocks. I don't even know how they got them there, by the way. Like, how do they get something that heavy right there? And it was kind of an eyesore. So I just did the decorations all around it. And what you saw on the stage was people, of course, performing, which was wonderful. But you saw a harvest celebration in front of them. So it was a much different vibe and feel that you normally would have had.
And this is something, as far as the Chili Cookoff, this will be our first time competing.
Wonderful.
But it's something that is, so many people come here. I mean, you see every weekend, of course, they have the streets closed, but it's just the magnitude of this event is huge. So it's some really good exposure for that. I
believe Derek said that there's about 10,000 people that come on the Chili Fest, and that's just 4 hours. Could you imagine if we had it more than 4 hours?
Like an all-day thing.
Yeah. And then I also want to share, if your listeners don't already know, that the primary reason for doing the Chili Fest is for food insecurity. And it's really to help those around us who do need food, who are hungry. And it's mostly in our area right here in Chester County. So if you weren't planning to come, please come. It's all going for a good cause, and it's a wonderful time. And we'll have some aesthetics for you this year as well.
And I believe the Eagles are on Thursday, listeners. So
That's great.
It won't affect your football viewing schedule.
Although on that note, there might be a green and white styled area.
So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.
So I appreciate the shout out there. And I had a couple other questions on the Chili Cookoff, but Luann, did you have anything? Or?
Well, yeah, a question that I was asking myself this weekend that you probably know the answer to. Does a gourd serve any purpose other than decorative? Can you eat a gourd? Like, what is a gourd?
Well, it depends on the gourd. The varieties of gourds and pumpkins are in the hundreds. So it just depends on which one it is. But yeah, some you can eat.
You can? Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell who likes to eat them the most, though.
The squirrel?
I was going to say
Pigs. So at the end of the season, one of the things that I provide is a service. I'll come back and I'll pick up your front porch. And I donate to all local farms and rescues. And one of the biggest one is a end-of-life sanctuary for pigs. So when you give them your porches, a pig loves, that's like their favorite treat, right? Kind of like horses love apples, carrots, mints. Pigs love pumpkins. You don't even have to crack them open. But like if you give them to a goat or a cow or like a chicken, you usually have to, crack them open for them to eat. Pigs, nope. You just give them a big old
throw
pile
them out there.
and they're happy as can be.
Oh, that's a nice wrap up to all of this for the pigs that they get at the end.
Yes.
We enjoy it and then they get the treat. That's wonderful.
it's a win-win.
It is.
So one question I wanted to, I have sort of a personal question here. How does it feel to see your work on display at such a big event? We just talked about, you mentioned over 10,000 people. So what does that mean to you having such big exposure in this event?
Well, number one, it's for such a good cause, like food insecurity. Like everyone has something that they're passionate about. And I think that's a really good one, which is why I really partnered up very quickly with Derek. When we met, it was just a mutual admiration for the passion. So there is that piece. And secondly, it really comes back to joy. One of my taglines is bringing the season styled, you enjoy the joy. So, I mean, that just really wraps everything up for me because I love seeing the joy on people's faces and particularly the delight that it brings them. And if at the end of the day, we can pause and think about where does this come from and go back to our faith, like he provides all of this for us. And then what else can that do for us? Like if it gives us a pause and think about all the other things that we can be thankful for, then I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, it is such a great thing to be a part of. And you mentioned Fiorenza's. We've had them on several times and can't say enough about the work they're doing here in the community.
Agreed.
Especially, and all the preparation at this event. I mean, they've been planning it for months
And
now.
If you are someone that is thinking about, I don't want to add competition to you, but there's nothing wrong with a little healthy competition. So I know that Derek is also looking for more teams to join if anyone is interested. And of course, if you're not going to be a part of the challenge, then please just come out.
Yeah, more competition, the better. I love it.
Do you have any recipes you guys are leaning on yet? Or are you still working on that?
We have a recipe plan.
Great.
As far as we're still working on specifics and everything, getting that done. But we have a plan.
You don't have to tell me this, but is there any key ingredients you're thinking of that are going to be differentiating for you?
It's a good question. So I know that.
Don't say it. Don't say what it is.
Don't say what it is.
I'm not saying what it is, but I know that Barry, so he's our Wednesday or usual Wednesday host. He's out today. He is kind of taking the lead on that. So I can't speak for that, but
so if
I'll be helping him out with that. But he's got a whole plan in place, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can come up with.
So if you win, you all get credit, but if you lose, it's his fault?
Yes.
That's right.
Exactly that. Exactly that. So before I get to the wrap-up question, just getting your information to our listeners, you mentioned that you recently did an event in Kennett Square, but as far as just the magnitude of this event, have you ever been a part of an event like this before?
As a participant, I enjoy them greatly. Mm-hmm. But as a vendor or somebody that is providing something for the event, no. So this is a really exciting time. Outside of the other ones that I have done this year, no, this is a really exciting time.
Now, specifically to the Chili Cookoff, have you ever participated in that?
Oh, 100%. Yes. You can't live in West Chester and not know about this and not having come and enjoyed it. Like, it's really hard to not be here.
Yeah, there's a lot of novelty events. And
Exactly.
Just one of few here in the area. And Nikki, before we close here, just wanted to get your information to our listeners. So if anyone is interested in what they're hearing, how can they reach out to you?
I would say the key word is Styled Porch Co. So you can do styledporchco.com. You could do Styled Porch Co. On Facebook or Instagram and follow along.
Yeah, and can I put in a plug for the website? You have a beautiful website.
Thank you.
And it's full of information, which I appreciate because a pet peeve is when I go to something and it says, call for information, but you've got everything somebody needs on here about add-ons and pickup and availability and things. And I'm just enjoying, it's putting me in the mood just scrolling through the beautiful pictures.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
So the website in itself is an experience. So styledporchco.com. Very nice.
I love it. I will let Farm and Fur know that. It was their first time doing a website that wasn't necessarily horse related, and it just turned out beautifully.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
And Nikki, we really appreciate you coming on this morning and appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you at the Chili Cookoff.
Absolutely. Likewise. Thank you for having me, everyone. Have a joyous day.